So many people love and trust my dad, and that's why the DML News app is one of the top downloaded apps. I hear from people all the time how they rely on the DML News app for so many things, and it is truly unique. For starters, the DML News app provides a non-stop flow of news articles that we aggregate from the top outlets, and then our team of writers insert extra content in the form of tweets, videos, and commentary all in one place. Next, the app provides the free version of the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day. We send an app alert when a new podcast is posted. On tab 3, you can watch all of my dad's films for free, including all of his highly acclaimed immigration documentaries, and our new series called America the Beautiful. And then there is my favorite tab, the Deals tab. It offers all the specials being offered at DML CBD, plus other DML merchandise like hats, bumper stickers, and new items that my family adds to our growing list of DML products. Finally, there is tab 5, which gives you access to the Team DML membership site. Tab 5 also provides important links to DML social media and customer support. You can get the DML News app for free at the Google Play Store for Androids and the Apple App Store for iPhones and iPads. Be sure to keep your notifications on so that you never miss important alerts. The DML News app, get it for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content, and Team DML.
Today on the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast, perhaps the biggest day in presidential history as Trump is arraigned in New York for a totally bogus charge. We are covering this for the majority of the show. So we've got a powerful show today. Get ready because it's all unfiltered.
Dennis Michael Lynch gives you his word, and he will never let you down. He will always fight for America.
The only one who really puts his money where his mouth is Dennis Michael Lynch.
Hello, I'm Dennis Michael Lynch, and I thank you for joining me today. On this day in 1789, the first United States Congress started holding regular sessions during George Washington's presidency at Federal Hall in New York City. Think about how bad New York City has fallen in 250 years. I'm not talking about the crime or the dirt or the homelessness, just from a political standpoint. George Washington picks Federal Hall in New York City for Congress to start its first ever session. In 250 years, we went from something that was filled with pride, dignity, and Americanism to something now in New York City today that is like communism, dirty, corrupt. Good God. I'm referring to the circus, the kangaroo court today in New York City, led by a radical black DA named Alvin Bragg. He is a racist. He is a puppet of George Soros. He is doing work for the devil. And that devil is Joe Magoo Biden, who, by the way, is bought and paid for by China. A communist nation that hates Donald J. Trump. That's what's taking place in New York today. I shouldn't say that's the only thing that's taking place. A few people will be raped today. Maybe somebody thrown in front of the train. What else? People will be, there's 70,000 crimes so far this year alone in New York City. God knows what will happen. Maybe today you'll be a parking attendant and somebody will try stealing cars. You'll try to stop them. They'll turn a gun on you. You'll get shot. You'll then take the gun and turn it on the criminals, shoot them, and you'll be arraigned for potential murder. Although I should say those charges were finally dropped. Yeah. Alvin Bragg, New York City. Donald Trump being raked over the coals. But you know what? There's an old saying. And it's important for me to say this to you. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. This arraignment today should, if done correctly, not only make Trump stronger, but make the Republicans a stronger, more unified party. Because we needed something to bring us together. And I think the something is this. And let me just tell you this. If you're following us on Rumble, make sure you hit the follow button. Today's a big day for us. We expect to go over 30,000 follows, and that's pretty good, seeing we've only been with Rumble for a month. Make sure that you also download the DML News app At the end of the show today, I'm going to talk to you. We are revamping the DML News app, and I want to tell you what we're going to do, and that will be at the end of the show. I'll save that for you, but download it, and put the notifications on. You can get it from the Google Play Store or from the Apple App Store. Also, do not forget we have a BOGO, a buy one get one free at DMLCBD.com. I'm not sure when that's going to end. I'm looking over at Ashley right now. She looks like she's holding up her 5 fingers. So it's about another 5 days on that. You got another 5 days on that, and then it ain't coming back for a very long time. So anything you buy at DML CBD is a buy one, get one free. We got another 5 days on that. So get in there now. 5 days or until inventory runs out. We've already run out of the face cream. We've already run out of the face serum. We've already run out of the body cream. So if you keep on waiting, there's going to be nothing left. DMLCBD.com/BOGO, BOGO. Give you the directions on everything you need to know. Remember, anything you buy, I am going to double for you at no price, no cost to you. That's right. Before we get into the nuances of today, we're going to talk about the indictment, what it means, what everything that was sort of listed. We're going to bring to you stuff that Alan Bragg said and all things Trump. But before we get into that, before we talk about today exactly, I want to sort of set up for where we are. How did we get here? Because I truly believe that this just isn't Alan Bragg. I believe that you've got Joe Biden, the White House, Barack Obama, George Soros, everybody playing a part in making sure that what happened today happened. So let's take a little rewind back here and take a look at 2016, for example. When Donald J. Trump ran for president in 2015, 2016, one of the things that he focused on most was manufacturing in the United States of America. We don't make things anymore. He said, turn over whatever it is you have in your household, turn over the ashtray, turn over the lamp, look at the light bulb, turn over everything in your house and try to find something that says made in USA. Most of the stuff is going to be made in Taiwan, and the other stuff is going to be made in China. Some of the stuff's going to be made in Mexico. And he didn't like that, just like you don't like it, just like I don't like it. And so he promised that he was going to bring manufacturing back into the United States. It was part of the plan, part of the blueprint to make America great again. I'm going to remind you of something before I go playing my crazy left clip. I'm going to remind you of what Trump said in the very first debate against Hillary Clinton when he was challenged about how he was going to bring back jobs and manufacturers to the United States. Here is what he said on national television, part of the reason why America voted this man president. Go.
What's happened to our jobs and our country and our economy generally is, look, we owe $20 trillion. We cannot do it any longer, Lester.
Back to the question, though, how do you specifically bring back jobs, American manufacturers? How do you make them bring the jobs back?
Well, the first thing you do is don't let the jobs leave. The companies are leaving. I could name, there are thousands of them. They're leaving, and they're leaving in bigger numbers than ever. And what you do is you say, fine, you want to go to Mexico or some other country, good luck. We wish you a lot of luck. But if you think you're going to make your air conditioners or your cars or your cookies or whatever you make and bring them into our country without a tax, you're wrong. And once you say you're going to have to tax them coming in, and our politicians never do this, because they have special interests, and the special interests want those companies to leave because in many cases they own the companies. So what I'm saying is we can stop them from leaving. We have to stop them from leaving, and that's a big, big factor.
Okay, so now you got that in front of you. You remember what he said. He used to say it every single time. He was bringing back air conditionings. He was bringing back car manufacturers. Companies were coming back to the United States in droves. Well, Joe Biden is killing this economy. We have a supply chain issue in a huge way. People are saying, I'm not even going to manufacture in the United States anymore. This is killing me. I can't do it anymore under Joe Biden. This guy has the audacity, the craziness to get up on stage and lie to the American people and say that nobody in America was thinking about supply chains and manufacturing before he got into office. Here is the crazy clip of the day.
Before the pandemic, the supply chain wasn't something most Americans spent much time thinking about. But today, after delays for parts and products, everyone knows why supply chains are so important. Instead of relying on equipment made overseas in places like China, the supply chains will be again made in America. They'll begin in America. Begin in America.
So Joe Biden is going to bring back manufacturing. Joe Biden won't even allow us to drill for oil. He won't let us make our own oil. We just heard that the Saudi Arabians are going to lower oil production, which means that there's going to be a supply and demand issue yet again. You're going to wind up paying more for oil. Try heating your home if you live somewhere on the East Coast, or if you live somewhere up in the north and you use oil, any kind of heating source, you're going to wind up paying double the amount. I mean, I got people who I know, friends who I know, who still live in New York, and they say one of the things that they dread is having to heat the house. You're going to pay more for this at the pump. And Joe Biden will tell you, don't worry, if you make under $400,000, you're not going to see it. There's not going to be increases in your taxes. Well, even if there wasn't, it doesn't matter, because all of his inflation, all of his policies are like a massive tax. They're worse than a tax. The guy is clueless. He's got one objective and one objective only: never to see Trump run against him. Now, he says, yeah, I think I could win. I think I could beat him. I did it already. Well, a lot of us question whether you did that already, Joe. A lot of us question. But we think that you're very afraid of him. And this is why you and the left continue to try to do anything you can to him. This is why all eyes have been peeled on Manhattan today. We're now going to turn to that. I think the best way to start this whole thing is to play a video of Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who also served as Trump's lawyer, who has been a confidant of Trump for a very long time. And he is with Dan Abrams, who is another lawyer. And this is on News Nation, explaining about the so-called crime, which at best is a misdemeanor, but Bragg has bumped it up to a felony. Take a listen to the explanation by Rudy Giuliani.
Why does Donald Trump keep denying that he had these affairs? He obviously had affairs with Stormy Daniels.
I don't know that. You don't.
Oh, come on. Do you actually have a doubt in your mind?
You don't know that.
Oh, come on. You really doubt that happened?
I don't convict people of things that I can't
He's
prove.
not convicted. It's not a court of law. He's not going to jail. I'm just saying it's obvious that, of course, these things happen. That's why they were getting paid for their stories.
If he is not telling the truth about that, that's not a crime.
No, it's not a crime, but it's
not
weird
a crime
defense.
at all. It's not under oath. It's not perjury. I mean, Clinton committed perjury, and his moral conduct was even worse. So, I mean, he would be, well, yeah, sure. He's with a young girl who worked for him, having oral sex.
True. That's true.
In the White House.
Yes, that's true.
Not
that's
consensual.
True.
Yeah.
Well, consensual.
So, I mean, this is a ridiculous.
But look, but here's the thing. So
this is a ridiculous case to bring. But don't you agree, though? Other people do disagree with this, but I do think when you're going to bring a case against a president or ex-president, and the first one ever, it's got to be something where the American people as a whole, like Watergate, where the American people say, I'm a Republican, I thought Watergate was wrong.
Here's the issue on this case, right? The falsifying business records. It's a misdemeanor. They're going to bump it up to a felony, as you pointed out. We don't know exactly what felony they're going to say that he was trying to conceal, but it's going to be a tough theory to win on. But it does seem like he falsified business records, right?
Well, did he?
Yeah.
Read the statute. Did he enter the business record?
Yeah. Look, he filed business records where he called this a legal expense, right? For $130,000.
But did he enter the record?
Sorry?
Did he enter? When you read the statute and you look at the cases, there's no case like this one. The cases involve accountants and people who falsify, get paid to falsify. He denominated it as a legal fee, but he never entered a record. I mean, that's exactly what Hillary Clinton did.
I would assume
exactly what Hillary Clinton did with the money.
I'd assume that it was laid out in his taxes as well as a legal expense, right? I mean, this was part of his legal expenses. Now, they're not going to charge him with tax fraud
expenses. But you don't really put legal expenses in your tax return. There's no denomination of legal expenses.
It could depend on what.
I mean, this was probably deducted.
Well, no, it is. Think about it. It's a business expense as opposed to personal expense, right? This is basically a personal expense.
Whether it's a legal expense or not, it's still a business expense.
Well, it's not a business expense. It's not a business expense if you're paying off women to not tell people about your affair with them. That's not a business expense.
Well, it sure is.
Really?
I mean, it could affect your reputation in business.
Sure
Absolutely.
Could. It sure could, but that's not a valid business expense.
I won't tell you. I think it is. I think the IRS would accept it.
Oh, come on.
If you're doing that, I mean, sure, it would affect your reputation and the reputation of the key man, like Key Man Insurance, et cetera. So I think he's got about 100 legal arguments.
He does have a bunch.
Of which only one on each count has to win in order to get it dismissed. So I think, Dan, it's going to be dismissed. I think it's not going to ever get to trial.
All right. Now, one other video I got to play for you to set the stage of how it is that the Democrats are begging. I mean, just begging that there is going to be brawls and fights and upheaval. There is a racist mayor. He's racist. He also happens to be black. His name is Mayor Adams. He has lost control of the city. If you thought Big Bird was bad, you know who Big Bird is, right? De Blasio, remember him? If you thought he was bad, Adams is De Blasio on steroids. New York City is so bad that the people who I know who live on Long Island won't even go into Manhattan anymore. People who once worked in Manhattan and then got basically sent home for COVID, and now businesses are saying, come on back. They're like, I'm not going back in there. I'm not going to get mugged. I'm not going to get pushed in front of a subway. I'm not going to get shot. I'm not going to have, gangs coming up to me. I'm not going to walk over homeless people. And oh, by the way, Mr. Adams, you're treating the illegal aliens in that city better than you are the American citizens. Well, Adams has the balls, the gall, to insult every Trump MAGA person, every Trump supporter, by putting out a warning, including that to Marjorie Taylor Greene, that if you come here and you do any sort of violence, we believe in the rule of law and you're going to pay for it. Really? You believe in the rule of law? This whole thing is centered around a radical, black, racist Democrat DA named Alvin Bragg, who's bought and paid for by George Soros. This guy has allowed crime to skyrocket in New York City under your watch. Play the video.
Maybe some rabble-rousers thinking about coming to our city tomorrow. Our message is clear and simple. Control yourselves. New York City is our home, not a playground for your misplaced anger. We are the safest large city in America because we respect the rule of law in New York City. And although we have no specific threats, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is known to spread misinformation and hate speech, she stated she's coming to town. While you're in town, be on your best behavior. As always, we will not allow violence or vandalism of any kind. And if one is caught participating in any act of violence, they will be arrested and held accountable, no matter who you are.
This is our home? This is our home? You're not going to come here and disturb our home? Dude, you've run people out of their homes. You're part of the reason why I'm living in Florida, and I have to thank you for that. You're allowing people to get maimed, killed, raped, stolen from, lose everything. The stores, merchants in New York City saying they can't even operate anymore because they're getting stolen from. People coming in and stealing stuff. You got a DA who won't go after criminals, especially black criminals. You're letting people who are beating people to stabbing them, you're letting them out of jail. You're letting drugs run wild. Illegal aliens are everywhere. Your city is a freaking disaster. You're the safest big city in America? Really? How about just in terms of cities? Because the whole word there, the big city, what's the big city? What, you're better than LA? You're better than Chicago? By what? By what measurement are you better? New York City under Rudy Giuliani, who we just played a couple of minutes ago, was amazing. He cleaned up all of it. You didn't see homeless people once in a while. You didn't see criminals. All the peep shows were gone. Everything. Cops were respected. You could go into New York City and be safe. I know this. I used to go in. I just recently last year, I went to a Billy Joel concert. I asked a buddy of mine who is a cop, a retired cop who's allowed to carry a gun, if he would take my family in and wait for us. I mean, and that's me. I'm not afraid of much. But I got my family in there, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to be dropped off at the front door of Madison Square Garden and picked up from the front door as well. That's what we had to go through in order to be able to go in to see a concert, because it's that bad. Crime is up and skyrocketing. And this guy is going to sit there and warn you, you better not pull your BS in my city. This is our home. We respect it, and we believe in the rule of law. Really? We got a guy right now, Donald J. Trump, who's being arrested for BS. I should say been arrested for BS. All right, now with all that stuff laid out for you, let's go over what happened today and what is happening. First, I want to set the stage. So obviously the mayor is threatening all people Trump that if you do anything wrong, we're going to do the rule of law. Didn't say anything to the lefties, didn't say anything to the Antifa kinds, didn't say anything to the wild media. Let me show you a couple things you need to see. First of all, we're going to play some background video here. You're going to see that New York City is filled with people. They're filled with pro-Trump and they're filled with anti-Trump. First thing we're going to do is we're going to play a quick video here from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was warned by Mayor Adams not to get out of control, who was also criticized as being somebody who shares fake news. Here's what Greene had to say.
I'm here to protest and use my voice to take a stand. Every American should take a stand. This is what happens in communist countries, not the United States of America. We have to take a stand against the injustice, the corruption, and the communist Democrats who are taking our legal code and twisting it, manipulating it, and perverting it into something that was never meant to be. Donald J. Trump is innocent.
Okay. Now with that, we had many pro-Trump people. There was a lot of news out there trying to claim that it was a very poor showing of MAGA supporters, which is total BS. Here is just a quick clip of an Asian woman who is pro-Trump saying why it is that we need Trump back in the White House. Take a listen.
2020.
Yes, they stole the election.
Yeah,
2020.
We had the opportunity in 2020, but the American two cowards didn't fight. So we came to this day. Now it's an uphill battle. Going back, if we grasp the opportunity in 2020, maybe more easier. But now it's harder. But now it's our turn. It's grassroots turn to take action to fight for yourself.
Yes.
If you don't, you're still sleeping, we lose our country.
Yes.
And then we became communist serfs. That's the worst thing. Yeah. I don't want to.
Okay, so now let's take a look at what Adam said about fighting. If you look at this clip here, you'll see that the media, this guy, this big black guy who's a camera guy holding the microphone, whatever he's holding, he starts going after a pro-Trump protester, a pro-Trump supporter. Watch this video and you tell me who the aggressor here is. I wonder if Adams is going to go up to his fellow black man who is probably working for the liberal media. Take a listen.
Don't ever fuck with me. Right?
What's wrong with you, bro? You're picturing me like an idiot.
I will kill your motherfucking. Get off.
What's wrong? Why are you pushing me?
Get the fuck out of here. Don't want your kind in here.
Oh, yeah? Come on. Bring your racist house and fuck with me. I'm the one for you. I'll kill you.
And then one other thing worth showing you, there was some little skirmishes here. The left was out in full force. They had big signs, and there is a woman who is obviously, clearly, you could tell by all of her dress and her garb that she's pro-Trump. She tries to take down these people's flags. She stomps on it, what have you. Who knows what winds up happening to her, but we'll just give you a couple seconds here of showing the visual, and people do get face-to-face, but it doesn't look like there was any punches thrown or anything of a melee. So just a lot of emotions running wild as we watch a president be arrested for the first time in American history. You know, it is impossible for me to ignore how crazy the people are on the left. I mean, they are completely crazy. They're always unhinged. They make complete idiots of themselves. Look at this girl. She is African-American. She paints herself with a white, I don't know what it is, that she's all chalky. She's got her head yellow, and she's pretending as if she's getting arrested by a police officer. This is the way they're protesting Trump. Take a look at this for a few seconds.
Jesus, cast her demons out now. The police are beating up a black person. I'm getting treated like a black. Oh my God. Oh my God. The racism in New York City is disgusting.
I mean, this is the sort of mindset that the left incorporates. I have never met a normal lefty yet. You can talk about this woman dancing in the street like an absolute idiot, or you could look at Alvin Bragg, who clearly has his job because he checks off boxes. One of them being corrupt and the other one being, well, you can figure that out for yourself, okay? Bragg has wanted to get Trump before he was ever in place. These Democrats are showing America how corrupt things are. And I don't know how long it's going to be until there's actually going to be a movement in the Republican Party that says, you know what, enough is enough. We're losing our country. We're losing it. When you've got a president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, who had this country humming until COVID came, which clearly was something, in my opinion anyway, that was sort of manufactured in a sense that we could actually stop this presidency, this Trump presidency, from being something that's going to last for, it could have been seriously, you could have had that last for 32 years. What do I mean by that? Well, Trump would have had 4 and then 8. And then things would have been so great that maybe Pence or another Republican would have been able to go in there, get another 8. And when you're talking about having 16 years of incredible economic growth, I mean, look what was happening when Trump was actually president for African Americans in this country. They were making more money than ever before. They were getting house ownership at a level they had never had before. That we were getting out of Afghanistan. We had no wars going around. We were respected. The border was starting to become something that could be controlled. We were really making America great again for everybody, But because China didn't like the way that America was rebuilding itself, because Putin didn't have Hillary Clinton and didn't have Barack Obama and Joe Biden in place to do everything he wanted, everything he needed, these people didn't want Trump. They try to say that Russia was interfering with the election. My ass. Putin wanted Obama, Hillary, and Biden to be the next 32 years. But when you get 16 years consecutive of amazing growth, Republicans would have owned this country for another 2 terms of maybe Ron DeSantis, and who knows afterwards. We would have finally been able to get this country super duper strong. We would have gotten it back to where it was, the way it was supposed to be, with all this wokeness and craziness that we're going through now. And the Democrats know it. Because what Trump did was he lit a fire. I can't tell you how many people. I'll use one for example. Maybe many of you have seen Andy Pollock. Andy Pollock lost his daughter tragically in the Parkland shooting. And I worked with Andy Pollock for months after that shooting to try to help him get school safety legislation together, help him raise some money. And we had a lot of conversations. And one of the conversations he gave to me was one day we were sitting there and we started getting into politics. And he said, I never voted in my entire life. I said, oh, really? He says, yeah. He goes, I'm ashamed of it. I never voted. He goes, to be quite honest, nobody ever enticed me to get up and vote. He says, but I voted for Trump. I said, you did? He says, absolutely. He says, because this country was an absolute mess. Well, you know how many people got off the sofa and voted for this guy? Do you know how many Democrats left the Democrat Party? I always refer to one of them. There's this woman named Amy. She voted for Obama twice. She's from New York. She wound up moving to Florida. And when I was doing walk-in talks on Facebook, she was watching me. And at the time, she didn't want to vote for Hillary Clinton. She didn't like Hillary, but she didn't like Trump either. And she was a Democrat. She started to listen to me, and she recognized the fact that she had been looking at politics. She had been looking at everything through dirty glasses. Because that's what Democrats do. They make everything dirty because they're dirty people. And she convinced herself that she had to make a change. And she switched parties. And she voted for Trump twice. And she is a staunch conservative at this point. That's what Trump was able to do. He was able to get people over to the party. He was able to get people to recognize the fact that they knew that they were going to be lied to forever. Look at Diamond and Silk. I mean, many of you know I created the names Diamond and Silk. I picked them out from YouTube, found them online, said, look, you've got a great shtick. I'll put you in front of Trump. I'll help you do whatever it is you need to do. You got to help with this election. Okay. And I created the whole shtick that you see that you used to see them do. I mean, Diamond is now, in the grace of God, but you saw how powerful that was to take two African-American girls who had always historically voted Democrat and realize the fact that it was time for something new. And this is what Trump was doing. He was changing America back to the way it was supposed to be in every aspect. And the Democrats saw that the fundamental transformation that Barack Obama had put in place, destroying this country, after 8 very weak years of a very weak president of George Bush, they said, we can't have this. This guy is undoing everything that Barack Obama did. We can't have this. We need to crush this man. And what did they do? 2 impeachments, one, the Mueller investigation. I mean, they did everything to this guy and nothing stuck. And even the raid on Mar-a-Lago, going after the documents, they would be trying. Right now, Trump would be with handcuffs on him had they not found the same sort of documents in Joe Biden's garage next to the leaf blower and between the leaf blower and the Corvette. This is a witch hunt, a total witch hunt. And let me tell you something about the media. You can't leave out the media. The media has been just as bad as the Democrats. Well, first of all, the media is all made up of all Democrats. Even Fox News has more Democrats at it than conservatives, based on my entanglements with them, my time with them. Got a lot of people over there pretending to be conservative who are really Democrats. But the media coverage of the whole thing here has been insane. Yesterday, CNN and all these places focusing everything on watching a plane take off from West Palm to watching a plane land. They're obsessed with Trump. They're obsessed with him. They hate him, but you know what? They love him because they make a fortune off him. We're going to throw up a 4-box right here. Ryan's going to show you this. I took recording of what it looked like today on ABC News, CNN, NBC, and the local NBC affiliate in New York. I mean, these people are obsessed. They've got a camera locked in on Trump Tower. for hours. They don't go to anything else. There's no visual there. They're just showing you Trump Tower. They're just showing you the outside of a courtroom. There was nothing. There was nothing to show. In fact, I mean, these people just talked and talked about how nobody is allowed to break the law and get away with the law. Nobody's above the law. All the different things about Trump. They just about being a hater and being a call for violence. I mean, I heard January 6th 100 different times. They just did it over and over and over. And as you can see here, the same screen, to grab there, just sitting there, getting the door, waiting for that shot to get Trump. They just want Trump. That's it. And you want to know why? Because they're making a fortune. Because I'm showing you YouTube videos there, right? Which is the stream off their television broadcasts. And what happens? There's an ad. They break away to ads every 10 minutes. They're breaking away to ads. And there's 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people watching this live stream all at one time. These places are making a fortune off Trump. That's why they love him to continuously get into trouble. Because people stop to look at car wrecks. I mean, all of this today, the whole world shut down. The whole television world shut down. Every major mainstream news outlet shut down today so they can get a 5-second shot of Trump walking into a class and walking into a courtroom. Take a look at the 5 seconds. There you go. Play it, Ryan.
That the feds said they wouldn't prosecute. Here comes the former president. Let's just listen into this.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
There you go. Walks into a courtroom. Now, there's not much to say. There's not much to say. All right, if I'm hosting a show, I'm saying, well, Trump shouldn't even be in Manhattan today. He should be at Mar-a-Lago doing his whole thing, getting the next campaign stop off. But he's in court today, and I got to tell you something. He shouldn't be there. But that's not what ABC does. ABC analyzes the way his face looks. ABC says he doesn't look happy. He doesn't look like he's happy to be there. Have you ever had to go to court? Maybe to pay a speeding ticket, maybe to go for a divorce hearing, maybe to go for any kind of hearing? What about just jury duty? Have you ever walked into a courtroom and been like, yes, this is great. I'm so psyched to be here. This is better than Disney. This is the analysis you're getting from the mainstream media. Can you imagine that? They waited all day long just to tell you that Trump didn't look happy to be there. And they wondered whether or not they were going to see a different Trump tonight at Mar-a-Lago when he gives his address. Play it.
Look, the former president, and here he is.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
There it is, about 5 seconds, but 5 seconds of history in this country. The first time we have ever seen a president, former or current, criminally charged. We know he's already been booked. He is a criminal defendant entering a courtroom in Lower Manhattan, John.
And that did not look like somebody that was celebrating a moment that he would be able to capitalize for his campaign, as some of his people suggested. This is the thing that seals his Republican nomination because it unifies Republicans against the prosecutor. He looked like a man very unhappy to be there. He was with his legal team, the three lawyers you mentioned, but also Boris Epstein, one of his close advisors, and I saw Jason Miller follow on. So he's got the legal team there, and he also has his political team. But this was not somebody that was looking to make a big scene at the courthouse, as they had suggested previously.
But he did look to me as someone very aware that the cameras were trained on him.
He looked right at the camera. One thing Donald Trump always knows, in whatever room he is in, is where the camera is. And he looked right at the camera, glared at the camera, and he walked into the courthouse.
There is something different, though, and this goes back to something we've been talking about up to this point, which is there's something different about walking into a courthouse. There is. There's just a different feeling that even if, when he gets back to Mar-a-Lago, he starts, going back to much of the rhetoric that he's issued about this DA, et cetera. When you're in the courthouse, particularly in a courtroom, but even in the courthouse itself, there is a sort of somber sense in the, it's not a happy place. Most people don't like being there. You don't.
And then, of course, they couldn't wait because Trump was in there for an hour. Those cameras never moved. They never moved. Trump was inside that courtroom for almost an hour. They never moved the cameras. Nobody even went away to take a bathroom break. Don't cut away. Don't cut away. And then what did they get? They got 5 more seconds of Trump walking out. You sure they don't want Trump to be running for office? You sure they don't want it? Because they're making a ton of money off it. They're making a ton of money of it. Can you remember the last time that people gave about 5 seconds of their time to look at Joe Biden walk in and out of a door? No, because Joe Biden usually can't find the door. He doesn't know where he's going. Have you ever seen Joe Biden try to walk off stage? He looks like, he looks like he's in a pinball machine. He's going back and forth. Where do I go? Where do I go? Mr. Magoo. Mr. Magoo. Trump's attorneys were basically gang rushed by the press. And, it's amazing because you listen to the questions from the press going to Trump's attorneys, and you can tell that these members of the press are completely lefties. They want to see, you know what? I bet you these people can actually take Trump out, and I mean take him out. They would do it. That's how much they hate him. They love to hate him, and they love to monetize him. Listen to the questions, the stupid ass questions that they ask the attorneys for Trump. Play it.
There was no admonishment that the president not use language that would incite violence or civil unrest. He did not request that the president not use language. He requested that everybody involved refrain from using language that's inappropriate. And by the way, that includes the witnesses for the people who are talking just
but it
as much.
also includes the former president swinging a baseball bat at the head of the Manhattan DA.
Well, I don't know where you got that because if
that was a tweet sent out by the former president.
No, it wasn't. And first of all, that picture was not him swinging a baseball bat. I mean, if you want to distort the facts, go right ahead. I want to address that. Yes, it is. He wasn't swinging a baseball bat at anyone's head. That was a picture of him showing off an American-made bat. Someone else put a picture of the district attorney next to him and in an article posted that. That's not his article. That's not his photos.
Not using language that incites.
Guys, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the insufficiency of this case. And I will say this to you. Today's unsealing of this indictment shows that the rule of law died in this country. Because while everyone is not above the law, no one's below it either. And if this man's name was not Donald J. Trump, there is no scenario we'd all be here today. Please understand that based on these charges.
What are we going to hear tonight when he speaks?
When? Tonight. 8 o'clock.
What are we going to hear?
I don't know. You'll hear it.
You should tune in and you'll hear it.
We know.
Prosecution wanted a trial in January. Did you think that was realistic?
No.
Can you guys talk about, there's a lot of speculation about the unity among the defense attorneys.
Look at this. Look at us.
Is that why you chose to do this?
Yeah. All right. Well, you really want to get pissed off? You really want to just pull your hair out? I'm going to play for you right now. This last couple of minutes, but you got to listen to it because Alvin Bragg has lived his whole radical life waiting for this moment. The moment where the whole world is looking at him. The whole world is taking a look at a radical, black, racist, inept, corrupt, George Soros paid for district attorney who will write books about how he took down the president, how he was the first man to have the arrest and arraignment of a president. He's going to make a fortune off this. He not only will he write books, he'll be paid $1 million prepay for the book rights that he's going to put off this. He's going to get paid millions of dollars for the movie rights on this. And then when he decides to leave the DA office, if he doesn't run for governor, he's going to wind up getting himself a 7-figure job at one of the top law firms in the entire country. You can guarantee your bottom that he is going to monetize this all the way. So when he's asked questions like, why did you do this? Why now? He's going to give you BS answers. The reason why he did it is because he's going to make a fortune. He's going to make a fortune and he's egotistical. Listen to the press conference and what he says. You're going to get the whole indictment. He's going to lay out the indictment as he sees it for you right here. Go ahead, Ryan, play it.
Thank you for joining us here today. Earlier this afternoon, Donald Trump was arraigned on a New York Supreme Court indictment returned by a Manhattan grand jury on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree. Under New York state law, it is a felony to falsify business records with intent to defraud and an intent to conceal another crime. That is exactly what this case is about. 34 false statements made to cover up other crimes. These are felony crimes in New York State, no matter who you are. We cannot and will not normalize serious criminal conduct. The defendant repeatedly made false statements on New York business records. He also caused others to make false statements. The defendant claimed that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. This simply was not true. And it was a false statement that the defendant made month after month in 2017. April, May, June, and so on through the rest of the year. For 9 straight months, the defendant held documents in his hand containing this key lie, that he was paying Michael Cohen for legal services performed in 2017. And he personally signed checks for payments to Michael Cohen for each of these 9 months. In total, the grand jury found there were 34 documents with this critical false statement. Why did Donald Trump repeatedly make these false statements? The evidence will show that he did so to cover up crimes relating to the 2016 election. Donald Trump, executives at the publishing company American Media Incorporated, Mr. Cohen, and others agreed in 2015 to a catch and kill scheme. That is, a scheme to buy and suppress negative information to help Mr. Trump's chance of winning the election. As part of this scheme, Donald Trump and others made 3 payments to people who claimed to have negative information about Mr. Trump. To make these payments, they set up shell companies, and they made yet more false statements, including, for example, in AMI, American Media Incorporated's business records. One of the 3 people that they paid to keep quiet was a woman named Stormy Daniels. Less than 2 weeks before the presidential election, Michael Cohen wired $130,000 to Stormy Daniels' lawyer. That payment was to hide damaging information from the voting public. The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means. The $130,000 wire payment exceeded the federal campaign contribution cap, and the false statements in AMI's books violated New York law. That is why Mr. Trump made false statements about his payments to Mr. Cohen. He could not simply say that the payments were a reimbursement for Mr. Cohen's payments to Stormy Daniels. To do so, to make that true statement, would have been to admit a crime. So instead, Mr. Trump said that he was paying Mr. Cohen for fictitious legal services in 2017 to cover up actual crime committed the prior year. And in order to get Michael Cohen his money back, they planned one last false statement. In order to complete the scheme, they planned to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities. The conduct I just described and that which was charged by the grand jury is felony criminal conduct in New York State. True and accurate business records are important everywhere, to be sure. They are all the more important in Manhattan, the financial center of the world. That is why we have a history in the Manhattan DA's office of vigorously enforcing white-collar crime. My office, including the talented prosecutors you saw at arraignment earlier today, has charged hundreds of felony falsifying business records. This charge, it can be said, is the bread and butter of our white-collar work. And fraud presents itself in all different forms here in Manhattan. We have charged falsifying business records for those who violated federal bank secrecy laws. We have charged falsifying business records for those who were seeking to cover up sex crimes. And we have brought this charge for those who committed tax violations. At its core, this case today is one with allegations like so many of our white-collar cases. Allegations that someone lied again and again to protect their interests and evade the laws to which we are all held accountable. As this office has done time and time again, we today uphold our solemn responsibility to ensure that everyone stands equal before the law. No amount of money and no amount of power changes that enduring American principle. I'll now take questions.
So yeah. What's the other crimes? Because he said Trump did all this to lead to other crimes. When he was asked that question, Bragg mentioned New York State election law and making false statements to the tax collectors in the state of New York. And the amazing thing is that he's trying to compare Trump to financial services companies. Well, you know, we're in New York and this is the business capital of the world, and we're always going after white-collar crime. Really? You're going after white-collar crime? Well, when I look at white-collar crime on Wall Street, what I see is insider trading. Insider trading where people are making a fortune because they're cheating the system. Trump didn't do that. You know who else did that? Nancy Pelosi and her husband. Why isn't the district attorney in San Francisco in California going after Nancy Pelosi and her husband? I'll tell you why, because they're Democrats. Democrats never get in trouble. It's always the Republican, and it's always Donald J. Trump being thrown under the bus. This is the most bogus witch hunt of all time. And the problem is that the corruption is so thick in this country at this point, no matter what it is you're looking at, whether you're looking at what took place over the last 2.5, 3 years, Anthony Fauci comes to mind. Whether you take a look at what you were forced to do, the mandate you were forced to do, which Pfizer comes to mind. Whether you look back at what happened in 2016 and 2020, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania comes to mind. Everything right now is corrupt. It's upside down and backwards. Nothing makes any sense. And New York and Alvin Bragg are the poster child for that. You want to know how broken this country is? Look at Alvin Bragg and ask who his big three witnesses are. Michael Cohen, a convicted felon and a pathological liar, a porn star who, by the way, just posted her response to this whole thing with Trump today. But also the third one is Michael Avenatti. Michael Avenatti didn't get to watch today. Guess why? But you want to know why Michael Avenatti was the lawyer for the porn star? Michael Avenatti is behind bars for extortion. Or whatever the hell it was. Stealing money from his clients. The porn star, Stormy Daniels, put out her tweet today. And I'm almost embarrassed to read this to you because it is so porn star-esque. You can't get more porn star than this. Where the hell is it? Let me get it up here for you. I know I had a screenshot of it. Okay, here it goes. You ready? Y'all keep saying cum dumpster. And my apologies for using this. Cum as in a man's sperm. Y'all keep saying a cum dumpster, like she is a cum dumpster. Like it's a bad thing. What a slut. It's definitely more fun being under my sexy man instead of under arrest. Oh, ha ha ha. That's real funny, isn't it? I think it's actually absolutely pathetic. And if I've got one criticism of Donald J. Trump, he's got to learn how to keep better company. Because between Michael Cohen and this classless piece of dumpster, got to watch my words, he's not really picking really good people to be around sometimes. I can't believe Alvin Bragg is trying to compare what Donald Trump did, which was allocate payments on a ledger. So let me give you what the equivalent of this is for you. So this way you know. If you lived in the state of New York, I used to live in the state of New York, right? If you lived in the state of New York and you're a business and you bought a forklift and you allocated that as an office expense instead of a warehouse expense, well, they can say, well, no, that's two different things. You put it in the wrong place. If you went to California because you had a business meeting there and you wrote off the flights and you wrote off the hotel because it was a travel expense, and Alvin Bragg came back and said, wait a second, you went out to dinner with your brother-in-law one of those nights. This was a person that you should have put some of that on your personal expense. It's going to get you for a felony? No, it's supposed to be a misdemeanor. It's no big deal. He accounted for it. That they're trying to make it sound like Trump did this as a way to win the election. That he was duping the voters. Alvin Bragg is doing this. And meanwhile, as he's doing it, how many crimes do you think were committed in New York? And crimes are committed in New York. We've had over 70,000 crimes so far this year reported in New York. This guy won't go after anybody. We're going to play you know what we're going to do? Play a little montage here for you. And this is like a pimple on the elephant's arse. 30 seconds of a news report from New York. And then after that, I'll talk to you while we're just playing some of the other violent, crazy crimes that take place in New York. Play the clip.
Violent video after violent video. Some are hard to watch. Who could forget this horrific shooting? A gunman opening fire on a Bronx street. 2 children are caught between the gunman and his target. The shooter just continues shooting. In this one, you see a woman being kicked from behind as she walks down the steps of the Queens Plaza subway station in Long Island City. She is then hit over the head with a hammer as many as 13 times as she is shoved to the ground and robbed. There's also moped riding thieves and this home robbery suspect. You see him run up to the victim and point a gun at her waist as she is opening her front door.
So yeah, people are getting mugged, killed, raped, stolen from, you name it. And Alvin Bragg is going to sit there and brag about how it is that he's going after Donald Trump and his misledgering of an expense. That's why the world has stopped spinning. I go back to Trump, and I'm pissed off. If you can't hear my voice, I'm pissed off. You go back to Trump. You know, he before he got there, he posted something on social media which is on his Truth Social, which is worth mentioning. It says, heading to Lower Manhattan, the courthouse, seems so surreal. Wow, they're going to arrest me. Can't believe this is happening in America. MAGA. You would almost think that you were watching a Netflix movie today. That's how crazy this is. They are so afraid of this man, and they should be. They should be. Because you want to know why? He's got more energy right now. He's got more fuel to his fire. So what he did, what his whole campaign is doing now, is throw out the picture here, Ryan. They have a T-shirt of him with a fake mugshot, and they're raising money off it. Now, I can tell you, going into today, the last report that I saw was that Trump had raised $8 million for his campaign over the last couple of days. His money raised today and tomorrow may actually break records because people are going to be so pissed off at what they saw today, all the things that I just mentioned to you here. He is going to raise a gargantuan amount of money because people are going to want to send a message of support and a message of F you to all the Democrats, all the media, and especially to Alvin Bragg. Do you realize the fact that if Trump actually got convicted of all the 34 counts against him, that he would spend 136 years in jail? 136 years in jail. We got people who were stabbing folks, throwing them in front of trains, doing obscene things to human beings and getting out without bail. And we're talking about Donald J. Trump spending 136 years in jail because he put down on a ledger that it was a legal expense. This is George Soros at work. George Soros at work. I'm going to wrap things up here for a second. I'm just going to give you about another 2 minutes of my thoughts. When Barack Obama said that he was going to fundamentally transform America, I knew we were in trouble. I knew it. I knew we were in trouble because he was so determined to prove to his daddy that he should have never been abandoned. See, Barack Obama was abandoned by his father. And when you're abandoned, many times what will happen is a person then feels as if they need to prove their value to the world, and especially to the parent who left them. So Barack Obama's father couldn't stand the fact that he had Barack Obama, and he ran off. He abandoned him. Can't say you blame him. And so Barack Obama learned everything was to learn about his father, and his father hated America, wanted to see it destroyed. And so Barack Obama carried out that sort of agenda to destroy America. Because when you've got the greatest country in the world was America. We have our problems, absolutely. But when you've got the best country to ever be placed on planet Earth, you may want to fix a few things. We got problems, need to be fixed. But you don't fundamentally transform it. We're seeing nowadays what fundamental transforming is, right? We see a girl one day, and then all of a sudden the next day she is something other than that. They're going to give her hysterectomy. 16 years old, here you go. 18 years old, you want a hysterectomy? We'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of the breasts. We're going to cut off part of your arm, and before you know it, tomorrow you're going to have a ding dong. You're all set. You just went from Josephine to Joseph. Congratulations. Maybe the vice president will send you a letter in 365 days. Barack Obama wanted to fundamentally transform this country in every single way. That's why we see our borders open right now, because he wants to change the face. He wants to change the level of smarts. He always wanted to weaken the United States, our military, our dollar, and everything. He just didn't have enough time to do it. He thought he could do it in 8 years, and then he thought Hillary would pick up the rest of the tab. But Donald J. Trump came along, and he screwed it all up. And then he replaced some of those broken bricks that Barack Obama smashed to smithereens. But Barack Obama is as determined as anybody else in this world. So what he did was he made sure that Joe Biden was going to get into office, because Joe Biden had every reason to be in there, because A, he believed in Barack Obama's vision, and B, because he had to get in there and make sure he covered up all the stuff that Barack Obama didn't finish covering up before he left. And now we're seeing what a fundamental transformation looks like. We're seeing what corruption is like. We're seeing why all great empires have failed, because we're right in line. We're in line to be the next failure. And Donald Trump's determined to stop that. And they know that you love Donald J. Trump. And if you don't love Donald J. Trump and you're a DeSantis fan, well, today you're kind of thinking, oh, man, what they're doing to this guy is completely wrong. Maybe I should support him. They know it. And they know instead of getting 70-something million votes this time, next time it's going to be 100 million. And next time there's going to be election monitors, people signing up from all over the place, doing everything they possibly can that what we believe happened last time won't happen again. And you know what I'm talking about. I think what will happen here is like what I saw on 9/11. On 9/11, when I ran from those buildings and I stood in the middle of the street with all that soot all over me, I remember just taking myself out of the moment for a few minutes. I was thirsty. I couldn't drink anything. I didn't have any water. And everybody was just standing outside. And we were standing around a cab and we were listening to 1010 Winds as we watched the buildings crumble. And then we heard on the radio that another plane had flown into the Pentagon. And I looked around and I saw everybody, women, men, white guys, black guys, Asian guys, guys from the Middle East, every nationality. And everybody was acting as a melting pot sort of human being. We were all Americans. We were all there for each other. Everybody was getting along, giving hugs, crying on strangers' shoulders. I had a Latino man next to me who actually gave me his water, half full, so I could get the stuff off my face. Then I took a little sip. We were unified after 9/11, and then it burned out after a while. Well, this time, I think what's going to happen is that conservatives and Republicans, maybe not those rhinos like the John McCains and the Mitch McConnells and the Romneys, but the rest of us, whether you are a Greg Abbott fan or a DeSantis fan or a Trump fan, everybody's going to come together. We're going to bind together. Because I think we recognize, I think what today was, if today, for the left, it was a circus show. For the left, it was a day to make money. For a day, it was, be more radical than we usually are. For Alvin Bragg, it was, I'm going to make $1 gazillion off this. For the rest of us, I think we sat back and we recognized that if they can do this to Trump, arguably the most popular, well-known man in the world, if they could do this to Trump, a billionaire, somebody who's got unbelievable power and connections, then they can do it to anybody. They could do it to you. They could do it to me. They could do it to our kids. They could do it to anybody. So if we just sit back and we just play keyboard cowboy and we just keep on getting pissed off at the television and throwing the remote and thinking that Tucker Carlson's going to solve it all with a monologue, or Hannity with a monologue, it ain't going to happen. Every single one of you, including myself, we have got to stay firm to our beliefs and to our commitment that whether it's providing money to candidates or providing volunteerism or providing encouragement in some kind, some way, and not stepping off the pedal, we have to ensure that we win this 2024 election and that we take the next 32 years so we can rid of the corruption, the dirt, and the very un-American system that we now are all living under. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Donald Trump is far from dead. He will not be convicted, and he will run for president. And we are going to win the White House in 2024. And each one of these scum that have destroyed the country that our fathers and grandfathers have fought for, they are going to pay a deep political and legal price. Because whether it's DeSantis or Trump, who knows? But either one of those guys, if they get in there, especially Trump, there are going to be people who are going to freaking pay such a deep political and legal price. I guarantee you that. One more look here at Donald J. Trump walking in and walking out, because that was the show today. And with that said, let me just bid you farewell with a couple of notices that you need to know. Donald J. Trump and the ongoing saga here is going to continue to continue. It is going to continue for a long time. And we're going to be on it every single day. We're going to let you know where it's going. I have faith in Donald J. Trump. I have faith in his supporters. I have faith in his lawyers. And I still have to have faith in the United States of America that we are not going to bring down an innocent man. We are not going to hold him a criminal just because we don't like his politics in some parts of the country, including New York. I have faith that all things are going to be okay. With that said, let me tell you, one of the sponsors of this program for this month, at least anyway, is a fantastic product that I actually use myself. It's called Field of Greens. It's from Brick House Nutrition. And let me explain why you should get this. Let me explain why you need this. First of all, the website is called fieldofgreens.com. And you can save 15% on whatever you buy just by putting my name, DML, not my full name, just DML, my initials, I should say. Put my initials in at the very end of checkout. When you're getting to the end of checkout, you put in DML, you're going to save 15%. And if you end up getting a subscription like I have now, you save another 10%. So you're going to save an incredible amount of money on an insanely good product. Now, why? I never endorse anything other than DML CBD and my app. That's it. All my TV time, all the times, I've always been asked, I've always been getting offers. I've always said no. This is the first one I said yes to. And there's a reason why. Not only do I use it, but I know that it is great stuff. When I had all my stomach issues and I went to the doctors, I went to Mayo Clinic, I went everywhere. And it turned out to be that I had multiple things going on. I'll spare the story with you. But one of the things they told me that I had to do was put more fruits and vegetables, especially the vegetables, into my diet. I hate eating that stuff. I can't eat broccoli. I can't eat beans. String beans. I can't eat asparagus. When I couldn't eat that stuff, carrots, cucumber, all this stuff, I was like, I don't want it. Squash, just keep it away from me. I just don't like the way it tastes. I don't like the texture. We said, well, it's a problem. I don't want to eat bananas. He says, it's a problem. You've got to start doing that. That stuff will help you in such a huge way. So somebody I know had wound up giving me, they said, you got to try this. I was at their house. You got to try this. So I tried. And I was like, hey, this doesn't taste that bad. And he's like, yeah. I said, oh, I could do this. And I wound up never doing it because I'm thick-headed. Finally, when I wasn't getting better at the pace I needed to, I said, you know what? I got to start doing something about my stomach. I got to start doing something about eating healthier. Boom. Field of Greens. Now it comes in different forms in terms of flavors. You could get the raw, you could get it almost in a berry kind of fruit one. I love the lemon lime. If you like the taste of iced tea and lemonade, when you combine the two, this is about as close as you're going to get. Basically, what you do is you take out a scoop, and it comes with a scooper. You take out a scoop, you put it in. I put it into a glass, and you mix it up. They give you a free shaker. When you buy this, they give you a free shaker. So you can put it in the shaker and one of those, drink it right out of the shaker. I just keep on stirring it up. It's all organic. It's unlike all these other ones you see out there, okay? Where it's, it's a supplement and it's all this. No, everything that's in here has been medically approved. Everything that's in here. This is the real deal. I know there's a lot of other stuff out there. I don't use them. This is the real deal. So if you want to definitely help yourself in a huge way, you need to go to fieldofgreens.com. You put in the 15% coupon DML at the very end of checkout. You're going to go through the whole thing. You're going to be like, hey, where's that thing? At the very end, it says, what's your coupon? You put DML, boom, they take the 15% off. And then later on, if you want to do a subscription because you're going to love this whole thing, you put it in again, you're going to get another 10% off. That's what you do. All right? 100% organic. And by the way, if you're using this product and then you go to the doctor, let's say, I don't know, down the road, and the doctor doesn't say something to you like, hey, man, whatever you're doing, just keep going, keep doing it. They will give you your money back. They're going to give you your money back. I mean, that's standing behind your product. So when all things considered, knowing the fact that I used it, knowing the fact that I know what it can do for you, I know what it can do for me. That's why I got behind it. I said, absolutely, I'll do this. I'll sponsor this because I've had so many people ask me, hey, DML, I can tell you lost a lot of weight. You look really healthy. You look really good. What are you doing? You got your energy back, all the other different stuff. This is one of the things. I always tell them about DML CBD and Field of Greens. So fieldofgreens.com. Do not forget the DML code. Get in there now. Do not wait. You care about all this stuff with Trump and you care about all this stuff with COVID and you care about all this stuff. You get all upset what's going on. Well, let me tell you something. The number one thing in the world, more important than Trump's arraignment or a COVID vaccine or Hillary Clinton, is your health. You don't have your health, you're not going to be watching this show or any other show. All right? If you don't have your health and you go to the doctor, you're going to be, damn it, why didn't I listen? Don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. Be smart. Fieldofgreens.com. Put in the code DML, save 15%. Medically chosen, right? It helps so many different things. People, when they look at why people are dying, stuff could have been prevented. Heart disease, stroke, all the stomach and gastro issues. Hello? People who eat healthy live longer lives. Hello? And if you're one of those people, maybe you like vegetables, but you just don't have time to cook. The other thing I was doing was I was taking vegetables and I was loading them up with soy sauce and I was putting margarines on it and butters on it. And the doctor's like, you're killing the whole deal. It's stupid. It's like jogging a mile and smoking a cigarette. What's wrong with you? I said, I can't eat it. This will give you what you need. Fieldofgreens.com. DML at checkout. Don't be silly. All right, that's it from me. Make sure you download the DML News app, hit the follow button right now, and don't forget the buy one, get one free at DMLCBD.com. What I would do if I were you, I'd go to Field of Greens, get my Field of Greens. I suggest the lemon lime, and then go to DMLCBD.com and get your buy one, get one free. You don't need a coupon code or anything. You just go to DMLCBD.com. Boom. You're all done. I'm going to double your order. That lasts for another 5 days. Don't make a mistake. Get in there and get there now. We've already started running out of some of the inventory stuff. You'll see what it looks like when you get there. Get in there and get there now. All right? That's it. Until the next time, God bless you, our troops, our first responders, your entire family, these United States, and once again, President Trump, keep your head up, bud. Keep your head up. We'll talk to you soon.
So many people love and trust my dad, and that's why the DML News app is one of the top downloaded apps. I hear from people all the time how they rely on the DML News app for so many things, and it is truly unique. For starters, the DML News app provides a non-stop flow of news articles that we aggregate from the top outlets, and then our team of writers insert extra content in the form of tweets, videos, and commentary all in one place. Next, the app provides the free version of the Dennis Michael Lynch podcast every day. We send an app alert when a new podcast is posted. On tab 3, you can watch all of my dad's films for free, including all of his highly acclaimed immigration documentaries, and our new series called America the Beautiful. And then there's my favorite tab, the Deals tab. It offers all the specials being offered at DML CBD, plus other DML merchandise like hats, bumper stickers, and new items that my family adds to our growing list of DML products. Finally, there's tab 5, which gives you access to the Team DML membership site. Tab 5 also provides important links to DML social media and customer support. You can get the DML News app for free at the Google Play Store for Androids and the Apple App Store for iPhones and iPads. Be sure to keep your notifications on so that you never miss important alerts. The DML News app, get it for breaking news, merchandise, films, exclusive content,